everybody. You're getting the behind the scenes. We're a bit early.
Yep.
Gonna be talking with artist Hope Bullard. Give me a sip of water.
Alrighty. Come on.
And we're live. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Welcome
Hello.
to Dirty Talking Art
Art
with Calibri the artist.
and Debbie LaPratt. Here we are at WJZZ, Cool Jazz TV, and getting down and dirty talking art. So we're ready to talk art. Hey, home. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, guys. How are
Hi.
you?
First, before we get into our official interview with the lovely Hope Bullard, we just want to say happy birthday, Roger.
That's
Roger
right. Roger
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, the owner of the studio. Today is his official birthday, and we
Oh,
totally forgot it. So happy birthday, Roger. Whoa. We have a little technical difficulties.
All right.
So, all right. So here we are. Today is Wednesday, 8 o'clock with our show. We are so excited to have you, Hope. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
thank you.
Oh,
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate this.
oh Lord,
And you
just
look
so thrilled.
beautiful. You look so pretty.
She does.
Thank you. I have to say congratulations to my niece Naya because she did my beat. Yes, she beat my face for me. So I appreciate it.
She looks
Makeup
beautiful.
artistry.
Thank you.
Looks beautiful. You look beautiful.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah,
Thank
she
you. I
had
appreciate
her
it.
makeup done like she's a movie
Yeah,
star.
Yes.
that's what professional artists do. We're not there yet.
That's right. That's right. Right.
Okay, well, welcome,
Okay.
welcome, welcome. The
Thank you.
lovely Hope Bullard, out of Georgia, all the way out of Georgia, currently.
Yes.
Yes. And what part of Georgia are you in?
Currently, I'm actually in Marietta, which is outside of Atlanta.
Okay, I know where Marietta is. Yes. Nice
Hmm.
area. Very nice area.
Yeah,
Well,
So
could you please
it's very pretty.
tell us and the viewers about yourself?
yeah.
I know that you're in Georgia.
Um, well, I am a late bloom artist.
And
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
go ahead, just go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm a late bloom artist. I was not trained as an artist. I basically did music for a long time. I am now, I think, in my sixth year of actually doing paintings.
Mhm.
So I'm pretty new. I started out, as I said, in the music industry. I did piano for a very long time, from the time I was in sixth grade on up, and decided, when I got to college that no, I didn't want to do music anymore. I didn't want to do the idea of, I think when I got to Florida State and I was supposed to audition for the music school, I woke up that morning sick and couldn't do anything. And then my audition was at 10 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock, at 10:01, I felt better. And I went along my way. So,
What was your
Instrument.
instrument? That's the word. I
my
couldn't.
instrument, I did piano. I also did flute. For a brief while, I did bassoon. And then I did voice at one point too. So I was very much into music. Music was everything. I auditioned. I was doing playing gigs when I was in high school. So I was a paid musician when I was in high school. I played for the church. I played for the school. I played for. I remember my music teacher actually subbed me out for one of her gigs because she couldn't show up. So she's like, "Get Hope to do it." So um, I did a lot of music, but it got to the point where I remember when I was in elementary school that there was a decision made at that point because I was in art and I always liked to sketch, I always liked to draw. But I remember going into my art room and the teacher gave me one of those collage things. You tear it out of a magazine and they give it to you, stick it on the paper and say, okay, finish it. So she gave me a picture of a wooded scene and it was in black and white. So I took a pencil and I drew it out. And I mean, when I say you couldn't tell the difference between the actual cutout and my drawing, it was just so complete. And it was supposed to be entered into the Dade County Youth Fair as one of their youth exhibitions. She said, well, in order to do that, color it. I said, I don't want to color it. It looks perfect the way it is. And she's like, no, you need to color it. I'm like, no. And so she gave me an F. So I failed art in the 6th grade. And
Well,
because of that,
really, she just didn't
yeah.
understand.
So because of that decision, I actually went into music because they were starting this new performing arts school called Norland Norland School of the Arts, which is funny because some of the actual students, I think a couple of years ago, did Moonlight from Miami. So that's the kind of art school it was. I mean, it's a very well-known art school, especially since that Oscar-winning film had students from there. And because of her, I made a decision to go into music instead. And I stayed there for a very long time.
You dropped out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
It was one of those things. So now I just, I'm glad I finally am able to actually do art. I mean, art always called to me. I was designing my own clothes. I was, always asking my dad to buy me, those couture magazines so I could copy, some of the drawings and the clothes out of them. And yeah, so art was always part of me. It's just I never got a chance to do it in school because of that.
So how long ago did you start doing your art? I mean, actually decide I'm done with music?
Well, I decided to go after my daughter was born, I decided to go into interior design. And that was like, maybe I was like 27 at the time. So that's a long period of time, from doing music to just, yeah, it's a long period of time. So I started learning how to draft and, how to do the site plans and things of that nature. Because like, I really wanted to do interior design.
That's cool.
But that was my first actual art class, and still I was told, you're a single mom, you can't do interior design because it's going to take you away from everything. It's like, okay, but I still took, design classes, went to Florida State again. And the design classes, I just had an eye for color. Now, I sketched all the time, but I never actually took color into what I was doing because color was this new thing to me. It's like color was frightening. And in design classes, my visual design class, I loved, like, my favorite thing to do is to go to Home Depot. I don't know anybody else, but I loved Home Depot.
I love Lowe's and Menards.
Yes, right. It's one of those places where you can just be creative. Like there's things that you can do and things that you can put your hands on, and then these ideas start forming. So I started going to Home Depot a lot. And I remember having to redesign a condo. That's our business plan. Basically, we had to put together. And I spent hours in Home Depot. And I was going through paints, and I started going through the, Joann's and the fabric stores, and I was having so much fun. I was like, wow, I never knew like this was so enjoyable to me. And at that particular point, I got a house. My, family bought me a house, and I was like, okay, it was a blank slate. I took gold leaf paint. Yes, I took gold leaf paint and I drew borders in Japanese characters. I took actual leaves that I found in the yard and covered them in gold and put them on the wall. So I had a 3D actual tree on my wall. I went crazy. And that's when I realized like I actually love color. So it took yes. I never had the opportunity to actually touch color like that, and I just remember like doing some of my stuff in actual art classes that I gave my drawings to people, and they're like, who did this? It's like, I did. Like, no, you bought it from somewhere. No, I did that. I actually drew that. That was me. So that was my start, like actually touching color. That was like in 2004, 2005. But I actually never painted until 2012, 2013. And at that point is because I couldn't find what I wanted in the stores when I started decorating. And so I was like, I could do it myself. I could do that.
Always
It all,
starts.
yeah, yeah.
You know, people like, your art, what made you become an art? Because I couldn't get what
because
I
I
wanted.
couldn't find what I want. Right, right.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
Oh, let me just do this. I can do it.
She's an amazing painter. I'm looking at this piece and I'm like, okay, I could not. This is just, it is like,
and we're gonna hold it throughout the show.
yeah.
Everyone's
Wow.
on tuning in from Facebook. And hi Lawrence, hi Margaret, hi viewers from Facebook,
Hi
viewers from
Usa.
WJZZ. But this is what you're seeing in the,
Hi Margaret. Hi
table set up
Timothy.
here.
Yeah.
From her, she's saying it like, yeah, I'm new to art. It's fabulous.
It's absolutely
She
fantastic.
has 1,000 other fabulous pieces. Even before she came on, just off the ad, it was people trying to buy pieces off of her
That's
ad.
right. Now, is this acrylic or what? Is this acrylic?
That one.
Yeah, could you tell
That
us?
is acrylic. I don't know. You know, it's funny because people keep, they always ask me whether it's oil, and I don't know why they ask that question. Like, it's acrylic. Like, it's, to me, I would love to go and venture into oil at some point, but it takes more of an open room, and I'm always like painting in really small spaces, which that's the reason why I moved to Georgia. So I'll be able to do bigger pieces and, experiment a lot more. But that was an experiment. That particular one is an experiment because I've never poured paint before. And in my mind, I've never painted, I never poured before.
We'll just hold that thought for the viewers. Could you, and hello Priscilla Pfeiffer. She was actually the person that had at midnight. She was like, what is this piece?
I know.
I like, let me text it.
Yep.
Hello Priscilla. For our viewers, could you explain, because she talked about number one, venturing into color. Number one, dropping out of art. Yes. Then going into design, then playing with color, and then now you see where her work is going. And then we'll talk about that. But could you just explain to the viewers what a pour is? Yes. And I want to tell how difficult this process is, but without
so
what is a pour?
Okay, so a pour is completely, I guess, uncontrolled in the sense that you're taking paints that are in liquid form and liquid colors, and you're putting multiple colors into an actual container. So you don't know necessarily what you're going to get. You just know that it's going to be liquid. It's gonna pour. Literally, you're taking a cup and pouring it onto the canvas. So I wanted to have I knew I wanted to have a glass. I wanted to have wine, and I wanted to pour it out of the glass seemingly. So I have to basically take it and control how the pour is going to end up into the glass and still be seemingly liquid. And that's what I wanted to actually give the idea of. There's liquid pouring into this glass. So
great job. Oh my God.
That was the first time I actually did it. And this piece actually started out as a sketch. So you can see with that particular piece, the detail in it, because it really started out as a sketch. And most of my actual paintings don't start off as a sketch. I do very raw, like painting on canvas, and it forms around it, because I didn't want to lose the work I do in sketching, because I did so much sketching growing up that I have so much detail when I put into it that I never want to cover it with color. So it's a balance to me to get the sketch and the oil and the painting and trying to put it together. So this one was actually just me experimenting, like how much detail can I put into it? How much of the actual liquid can I keep and still morph it into the picture, and everything else just came organically. So yeah.
You did it beautiful. Where else?
I'm showing because for the viewers, and you can view later for our viewers that are watching, because we have our Facebook lives going too. So this is a little preview for the Facebook live, but please tune in to WJZZ Cool TV. Matter of fact, let's remind our viewers.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
You're watching Talking Art on WJZZ Cool TV. Where we're streaming live. So if you want to see Hope, because they can't see you right now on our Facebook, they're like, we want to see Hope. Go to WJZZ Cool TV to watch us live.
Right. And on YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope.
Twitter Live.
Twitter Live.
Twitter
Okay.
Live. All right.
So those are the stations. Please
But
like, share, and comment. Please.
absolutely, absolutely. But back to this lovely piece
Hi, Danielle.
with your pores. And she noticed that it's uncontrolled. You literally are pouring onto the canvas. And if you'll notice all the rest of the picture here, it's very refined, it's very detailed. Even the expressions on her face, the color palette is very blended and rich and bold. I love it. It almost feels like wine.
It
When you
does.
get to just this part, you see she wanted to make sure that it flowed uniquely, that it really was like wine pouring out of the bottle here.
And even
And
on the
it's
top,
just
you could see like
wonderful.
just the top of the wine, like right there. It's just, I'm blown away. It is so detailed. It's like, wow.
Thank you.
Here.
Yeah.
See, isn't it pretty? It's so pretty. So I have to
I
get
am
this
so glad
angle
you guys
when we are
actually.
doing the when we're dealing with our out of town folks. They
Mhm.
don't get the camera switch and all the
That's
camera
right.
angles.
That's
So I want
right.
to make sure
Oh, okay.
that we can
Ex-
show off. It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Very, very beautiful.
And
I am
hopefully
glad
this
you guys
will
got a
be part
chance
of
to
the
see it
Detroit
because
Fine Arts Breakfast Club, and we invited her to be on, so we are very thrilled to have
Yes,
her.
yes,
You know,
yes.
so
thank
yeah,
you.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, I wanted to ask because we're getting into how you got back into the arts once you dropped out.
Mhm.
They're
I was kicked out.
She said, "You know what? This
probably
F,
looking at you going,
forget you, teacher. I will never go back. I
Yeah.
promise you. I can show you what I can." But you did that, and you went over and mastered music with all
Yes.
different types of instruments, including vocal. And I wanted
Mhm.
to know, because you were classically trained and making money off that,
Mhm.
if at all, has that influenced you in any way with art?
Um, it has, well, in a lot of ways, because for me, music is always intertwined in it. So my first actual piece that I painted was a painting of my son,
Mhm.
and he's playing the saxophone in it. And I wanted to see, can I draw him? And because I've always tried to steer away from people, figurature. I always thought that was the hardest thing in the world to actually draw people. So I wanted to see exactly how I can do it because the hands, especially, are the hardest thing, trying to get the hands exactly right. And I did a picture, like, I think it was like 30 by 48 size picture of him
Mhm.
when he was about 13 years old. And I still have that. And
so
to this
cool.
day, he says, it's him playing the saxophone in the moonlight, setting sun, moonlight, moon coming up, first ever actual piece. So when I actually paint, there's always music in the background. There's always something going on. Like the minute I come into my studio, I turn the music up, and my playlist ranges from classical to jazz to R&B to hip hop to there's like random stuff like country in there. There is like what there's also comedy shows in there too, so I have to laugh. So when I'm actually painting, it comes through, and I have to have that, and usually it keeps me going for several hours at a time, so I don't know what time has passed, and I'll push myself until the point where the paint's too wet for me to do anything with. So every one of my pieces, music is central to creating it, and sometimes the music helps me bring ideas to focus. So it's like, oh, step back, okay, there you go. And put it through. So yeah, music has always been a part of everything I've done. I mean, I even went back several years ago and started playing for a church for a little bit and then stopped because I have to, that's one thing with me being the type of person I am. I have to balance my interest. So one doesn't take too much time away from the other.
Mhm.
But with me painting, I can't play as much.
Mhm.
So I actually stop. And that's one of the things I know, like I'm buying a house. So one of the things I want to do is like have a grand piano in my house. So I was like, wait,
That's so
if
cool.
I do that, I can't paint. So
Right.
Yeah, music is very much a part. And one thing about my family, we are musicians and we're artists.
Mhm.
So even my son, he's doing producing and he's been making music since he was 12. My daughter, she's a designer. So my nieces, they like to do
Family.
art. You see the makeup.
Yes.
So they all have that. And it all falls back to my dad because my dad was an artist. And I didn't even know he was an artist until I started painting and he was like, no, that hand's not right. Do it again. And only come to find out that he was such a good artist when he was younger that he didn't have to look at the canvas while he's drawing somebody. He could just do it. I'm like, what happened? Where did it come from? But yeah, he's always been, and I never knew. But that's how we connected before he passed. So,
It was really cool.
Wonderful.
So that's what we're saying, that art is just not painting. Art is designing. Art is music.
hmm
Art is
hmm
everything. We have so much art that, people just think, oh yeah, art is just painting and working on pot, but it's not. It is art is music. And like your
yeah,
daughter designer and your son is, what is your son? I'm sorry.
he does music production. So he raps and he sings and
Everything
yeah,
is all related into the arts and stuff like that.
yeah. And it's very funny because when they were younger, before I actually went back to, after I actually went to Florida State and finished and did my design, I had them sit down at the table and I gave them a still life, basically a lesson. So I had apples there and I said, okay, because they're like, Mommy, you can do it. Because I was doing paper mache. Okay, parents, we all try to help our kids with art classes, with their design classes. So one of his thing was he had to make something for his social study class. And I decided to do a paper mache bald eagle for his class. Never done paper mache before. Don't even know how to do paper mache, but I decided to do paper mache. And I was like, it looks so simple. Let me go ahead and do this. So after I did it, it turned out really well. And, went ahead and took it to class, got an A on it. So they're like, well, you can do that. You can draw, but we can't. I'm like, everybody can draw. Everybody can do this. This is not something that, people say, okay, they can't. Everybody can do it. So I had them sit down and we had different viewpoints, of course. And my daughter did this design motif. I mean, it looked almost like would you look the anime. Her stuff was more, she
Yeah.
drew apples that look like anime. My
Cool.
son did more like the graffiti art with his apples. And of course I did as you can see, as real life, apples as possible, but none of the, so we had all different viewpoints of what these apples look like. And today I still tell my son, I'm like, you can do art. He's like, no, that's you guys. You can do that. I only do music. No, you have a viewpoint that may be really interesting to look at if you decide to draw, or go into art later on. But we
Right.
all had different things and everything was appealing. But, sometimes we don't see that.
It's
That's
wonderful that you
cool.
can bring that out of them.
Yeah, that
You
would be really
know.
cool to be able to bring it out of them,
Well,
and just let them
hmm
be, and just kind of experience art. I fought art for a long time. My mother was a seamstress. I didn't want to sew. It's like, no, I'm not sewing. Then all of a sudden in 11, made me this dress, and I'm like, oh my god. So I went home and I said, okay, I want to learn. Okay, I want to learn how to sew.
yeah.
And it
hmm
just kind of went from there. It's just kind of, both of my parents and stuff like that. Now, was your parents anything in the arts or?
Artists, well, they won't say that, but here's why I do believe in just why art, period, because art is creating and it's also expression. For me,
hmm
it's an alternative release therapy. It's
Right.
how you express the things you can't say necessarily,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
or express emotions that maybe you don't know how to get
Right.
out.
Right. Right.
And I have all throughout my family, everybody will say, well, I don't draw, I'm not an artist, but my dad was
hmm
heavily influenced by music. I grew up with just music around me all the time.
Yeah.
He
hmm
played saxophone, all of his brothers played some type of instrument. My mother was basically Martha Stewart. She was like the black ghetto Martha Stewart.
Wow.
Ornaments and everything, we made those, the wreaths and everything, we made those. She sewed, she did
Yeah,
everything,
yeah.
and even now
Mhm.
she's like, you need to would dress me head to toe, that you can put this with it.
Mm.
So they're very creative, and I'll say you're artists, but they were like, no, I'm not an
Yeah,
artist.
yeah. It's
You
just
the
how
bougie
Yeah.
it's just any kind of thing is
Yeah.
creativity.
artist.
There might be designing, like you designed the house and stuff like that, or you
Mhm.
designed that. It's just, it's
Yeah.
all art is around us, and people don't look at it like that. They just look at it as,
Yeah.
I can't paint. No, it's not just that.
Yeah, and that's what my mom, she did the same thing. I mean, if you saw how my mom took from, whatever house we went into, she took it from, crumbling mess to this, seamless design. It's like, whoa, she's always done that. So she has that gene that she's passed down to us, the desire. And it's just amazing to me. Like, my family's from Jamaica, and a lot of Jamaicans, we like a lot of immigrants, we actually focus more so on the money making fields, like, well, supposed money making fields, like the lawyer, doctor, nurse, things of that nature. My parents were so unique in that they really wanted me to do music, and everything they did was, you're going to do music, you're going to do music, so they moved heaven and earth to make sure I was doing music. So when I didn't go to school for music, it was like, so what are you going to do now? but all that time but all that time I was designing, I was still doing those things, that art called to me. Like when you walk by an art room and you're not able to go in, but you can smell the paint, and you can smell, like,
Feel
you
that.
can
It's
see
like I
all.
gotta go in there. I gotta
Yes,
get out. Yeah.
yes, you just want to touch stuff. And I will always walk, find a reason to walk by the art studio in the high school, like, can I go in? And it was so funny because, look, my daughter, when she was graduating high school, the art teacher will allow her to come in, did not take art class, will allow her to come in and touch anything she wanted. I was like, how come you got a chance to do that? I never got a chance to do that. So yeah, it calls to us. We're always creating. And it's just, now I can't see myself without art. Like there's always something, there's always a Rolodex right now. Like there's ideas just waiting to just find the right canvas to put them on. So with me personally, I know I'm going to morph into, I want to do carpentry, like to build furniture and put my art in the furniture. So that way people they can see and they can use it and they can touch it, and they can, even
Good.
the paintings I did before, all of them have a texture to it that I want people to put their hands on. And I want them to, even the people who are, sight challenged, they can just touch it and they can see where everything, feel it with their fingers and know, okay, well, this picture is
Really.
about the trees and about, yeah, I want that to be something that I leave behind.
It's like your legacy. You already started a great
Yes.
legacy.
Well, she just started.
You just started. Oh my God. Yeah. We're going to
Let's
take
just
a
take a
fast break.
Yeah, just want to remind our viewers.
Yeah. That we're watching WJZZ Cool TV. Get down and dirty. Watch us on YouTube,
Twitter,
Twitter,
and
Twitter
Twitter,
Live,
and
and
Facebook.
Facebook
On
Live.
Yep.
Like, share, comment. Call us. What is the phone number? If anybody
Oh
wants any
yes, yes.
questions.
For anyone that has questions for
Or,
Hope, our phone
Mhm.
number is 313-355-0618.
So please call in. We'd love.
Yes.
She probably has
And I
some.
just want to say real quick to our viewers that are just watching from our personal Facebook lives, tune in to WJZZ Cool
Cool TV.
TV.
You'll see the whole
We
thing.
want to see Hope. We want to see Hope. You can only see Hope on WJZZ Cool TV.
Yeah, we can't
Aw.
show you guys because we see the TV screen here. So
Mhm.
yeah, so
But
cool.
getting back to your art, because I don't want to give away too much just yet as far as your future plans. But I wanted to talk about just more about the type of artwork that you do, and I guess how your journey or just period how you get in that zone, because your artwork is so, and I'm gonna hold it up again.
Yeah.
This is sell. They're flying off the shelves, You do so
Mhm.
many types of artwork, number
Right.
one. But what I notice is that it's not just that it's music influence, but the mood is influenced. There's
Mhm.
something where your artwork, it just brings peace, whether it's a lot of movement to it, whether it's subtle, whether it's
Mhm.
a lady in the field that somebody was trying to buy that sold. We keep bringing it out.
Yes.
It's almost like you look at it and hear music. Or what I've noticed is I either hear music or it just brings me to a place of silence,
Yeah.
like just peace. Like
Yeah.
you do have those pieces where you incorporate nature.
Oh, the one
It's like
on the
loud, but
window.
it's silent, if that makes
Yes.
sense. There's so much feeling and emotion to it, but I don't know. Maybe it's the Jamaican roots, maybe it's the music, maybe it's, I don't know, but I got to find out what Hope is putting into these. She's putting
That's
some
right.
hoodoo into these paintings because they call you. Like you said, the art room call you. Hope's paintings call you. It's like, do, what is that? What is that?
And that is the actual funny part because I think you can see this one behind me.
Nice.
Uh, I
Oh,
actually took it to a vendor fair, and this gentleman was just standing there in front of it, and he stood there for about 10 minutes, and I was like, "Are you gonna buy it?" And he was like, "Well, I don't know, but he said he just people just stare at it. And the more they stare, the more I'm like, okay, you're getting into it. And I like that. And, it's not so much. So for me, when I do my pieces, the first ones I did because people wanted something to a need. And again, that's what I got into the whole purpose of, actual painting because I wanted to fulfill a need. I wanted to put something on my wall that was unique because I couldn't find anything to, in the stores. So with my a family member, they were just like, well, I need this something for this spot right here. And I was like, okay. So what I usually do for those commission pieces, I talk to the people. I have to know them. And I have to know exactly, like, okay, I ask them questions like, what do you want? What do you want to look at? What do you want to look at when you come home and you see this thing? What do you want? What brings you, pleasure when you look at it?
Yep.
And
100.
so I already had an idea of like, the kind of person she was. And she was a sophisticated lady and, of a, darker complexion. And so I was like, okay, I got to find something that fits her. So then that lady with the hat came about. And so when I asked her, what do you want to look at? She was like, well, I want to look off into the distance. I said, okay, not a problem. And so then I incorporated the feel because I'm like, so usually most of my pieces have like a structural or architectural feel to them because I did the design aspect and I did the site plan. And I like the idea of looking out. And so you'll see most of my pieces have people looking away from you rather than looking towards you because that's what I want to see. And if I can put an actual, window in there, I'll usually put a window in it because I want you to look out. I want you to look past that point because, nothing's static in the window. And so there's doors and there's, the frames and, things of that nature. But when I'm usually out and about or I'm going through my day, there's always a color or because I can see the variations in colors when I look at them. And that's usually, like I said, I don't necessarily sketch out the whole concept. I usually let the colors shape the concept. So I look at the colors and then incorporate them into the painting because those colors either like when I'm walking stop me in my tracks and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that tree. Look at how the colors in the tree are and look how and I remember even in my last house I was outside and the little buds in the plants and the tree was coming out and the color was just like a little bit of yellow next to the green next to the brown and I spent days just looking up and I think my neighbors thought I was crazy but I just every time I walked outside and I just kind of looked up at this up the sky and the blue next to it so you will see a lot of blues in the skies that I do but that's because I'm just I mean, it's just so, it just causes so much peace when I look at it. And I always feel like, even the lady in the red dress, I
Oh,
went to
that
a
one
training
is really
seminar,
good. Oh,
and
yeah.
there were tulips. I love tulips. So I took out my phone and I took pictures upon pictures upon pictures of tulips. And as I'm taking pictures, I'm like, I can see something coming together. And I'm like, I kept taking the pictures. And there was a hill, just grassy hill. And at the top of the grassy hill, there was a gazebo. And the gazebo was in white and it was distressed. And next to the actual, just, next to the green, the white was so stark. And it was just like, oh. And I know these people thought I was crazy again, because I'm taking pictures and I'm walking over there and it's like, class is this way. And I'm like, no, I got to take a picture of that gazebo. And I put the gazebo in the painting.
Yep.
So that's why, like, the feelings that I get is what I try to impart in my paintings. But it's not even like it's not even a purposeful thing. It's just, it already evokes such emotion in me that when I'm putting it there, I just do it. I mean, I don't necessarily, sometimes I don't even know how the picture is going to come out. Like the ones I did from my window, my views from my window, it's because I stood there for so many days looking out and wanted to capture that picture so I can take it with me. Like physically just take it with me when I go.
We'll have to have Calibri put. She's got the lady in the red dress. You have it at your house, don't you?
At Danahan Arts.
Dan Hands
So they
Arts.
have-
We'll have to take a picture and we'll post it on our Get Down and Dirty so people can see what you're talking about. It is
Yes.
amazing.
Okay.
Are available.
Yes, and prints are available. It is beautiful. I mean, it's like,
Yes.
oh,
It's
yeah.
for the people that have seen it, and that's actually, I was delighted to that you chose to allow me to showcase that particular piece. Because I love your work, period. I really do. But I really didn't know what to expect, what was coming. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
And it was big. Oh my
I
God.
didn't realize how big it was, but that was one of the ones that she shared on the Breakfast Club, Detroit Fine Arts Breakfast Club. If you're a member, that's founded by Henry Harper and Harold Bragg. So please become a member, because that's where you see the amazing artwork. But she
Mm-hmm.
showcased this painting, and you weren't finished with it yet. And what I love
Mm-hmm.
is that you hadn't used any blacks, and the painting
Mm-hmm.
was called Longing. And immediately, like all the women, like it just got quiet. And that's the thing. What
Yes.
Hope presents is, it's just like, and you're just taking all of her pieces in. And this one just draws you in. It's a lady. She's just like running,
And her
you
dress
know,
is just
and
kind of
her gorgeous gown is just flowing. And she's like from the streets of some exotic, place. It looks like in Italy or France or
that's what
just
I thought.
wherever,
Yeah, that's what I
it
thought. Running
is
down
where this
those
woman
cobbled
wants to be.
streets.
It's
Yeah.
so elegant. And of course, the men were like, well, that doesn't reflect longing. I would put, and everybody's like, don't touch it. you know, but she wasn't done with it yet. And, of course, everybody had their bid in. And it's just one of those pieces where, as artists, I always say, artists to be enjoyed,
Yes.
especially
Yes.
if multiple people love it, and the way her artwork just brings you in and draws you in. To just give that experience to one person, it just downright isn't fair.
Right.
Especially if you see everybody, I want it.
That's
I want
right.
it,
That's
I
right.
want
That's
it.
what we get.
Yeah.
So when you see it, you're gonna want it.
Yeah.
So go
You can
ahead
get-
and
get
you
prints.
can purchase prints. And then for the original, if you got that hot, we're still debating on the price. It's gonna be high for the original, so I'm gonna let you know. But
It's gorgeous.
you got a little boss to get the original for Hope. Hope's pieces are thousands. But if you like
Mm-hmm.
and you balling on a budget, prints are available.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
work, beautiful work.
It's interesting because when
Yeah.
you go outside and you see all these colors, it's like I see architecture everywhere, everywhere.
Mm.
You just
Yes.
texture, architecture. So when you were saying that, it's like, wow, I get it.
She
I
gets
get it. I get
She'll
it.
stop.
Yeah.
Like, you see that?
Yeah, those
We'll
see
be
that.
driving like that.
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
Yes. Yeah, I'm actually, you know what? I'm notorious for watching anything on, on streaming, right? And seeing some colors pop out. And I'm like, rewind. click. Because the colors, and it's just, yeah, I've gotten into colors. I never thought that would be me. I thought it was just gonna be black and white, but colors is something. And I really fight between the architecture part of it and the landscapes. And that was my original love, the water. And there's like a picture in my head when I went to Jamaica, I think when I was 19. And we were driving down the street, and there's a little girl walking down the street in her uniform. So she was wearing a brown uniform, the khaki, brown uniform. And she was walking in front of this metal, like just steel, silver. And behind her was the blues and the greens and the mountains. And I was like, oh my gosh. And that picture is stuck in my head from the time I was 19 years old. That's how much the way things kind of flow. And it was just a natural picture. And it wasn't that she was trying to pose. We're driving by and she's drawing a stick along the actual steel of this ghetto area. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, the shanties. I mean, this is great. Like, I wish I had a camera, because now I'm like, I want to put every little detail of that picture.
Did you ever duplicate that piece?
I have never painted it. It's only in my head. It's only in my head.
Rolodex. It'll be ready when you're ready.
Yeah. All of a sudden, you're
exactly.
Hold that thought.
Yes, I will
break and remind our viewers that you're tuning in to Get Down and Dirty Talking Art with Debbie LaPratt.
Hello.
Calibri the artist.
And our wonderful guest, Hope.
Yes.
The amazing painter who sees everything in color. It's like
you're watching live from WJZZ Cool TV. Facebook. Go to WJZZ Cool TV so you can watch Hope.
That's right.
Yes.
Coolest station in the world. Thank you again, Hope. I wanted to touch base real quick, holding that note. You had spoke about wanting to just kind of bring people into your work further. So for the future, just what are your plans? What's next from Hope Fuller?
Yeah, what's next?
Well, I do want to. I want to continue the painting, of course, but I want to get larger. I want to do murals. I still want to be able to bring things into, people's homes, but also, put them into a public forum so people can actually like touch and interact with it. So I wanted to do sculptures, and I still want to do furniture. So that's the reason why I decided to get a larger studio space, so I can go ahead and tear things up and put them together and be able to take them out of the house, which would be nice. So one of the things I actually did before I moved, I actually made a table, and the table had a painting in it. So, and it was covered like a, kind of like a bar stool kind of thing, but just making sure the colors and everything, so it was usable, but you could still see the art and play with the art and touch the art. And so I would still want to do that, and hopefully get to the point where, my work is not just in one location or just in, I want to be worldwide, international. But in the meantime, I still want to be able to do everything. There's just so much things. There's so many things that I'm still yearning to touch and yearning to get out there. So bigger, more sturdy, wood, metal, everything. I want to do it.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
So you talk about sculpture. What kind of sculpture are you thinking? Are you just taking the tables, or actually building a sculpture, or you don't just kind of sitting there?
I started trying to do, trying to find things in stores and not being able to get them. I wanted to build a person.
Hold that
thought.
We have a
phone call. Hi.
Oh, okay.
Hi, how are you?
We're great.
You're getting
Good.
Getting down and dirty talking art. Who are we talking to?
Rose Summers.
Hey, Miss Rose. How are you, Miss Summers?
Hi.
Hi. I'm good. I'm enjoying this interview.
She's
Hope
another
is so
fine
artist.
artist.
Rosemary Summers on the line. Hi.
Yeah. Hope, I am enjoying your journey, and I'm calling you tomorrow. I've been pretty busy the last couple of days.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I'll be here.
but I see the edge of my piece. So I hope you show it again so I can see it.
Show it.
Oh,
Show it.
definitely.
What a piece. You wait a minute. I show. Oh, that's Rosemary's piece.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You put it right
Put it up there.
up.
Come on, get it up.
Oh, it's on the easel.
Oh, it's on an easel.
It's on the easel.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's on the easel.
Okay.
The one you painted from your
Hold
outside.
on a second.
Well, I just thought I'd call and you all can carry on.
Well, thank
She
you.
wanted to let y'all know that is her piece.
That is her piece. That is
Right,
so
that's my piece
amazing.
right there. So,
And for the viewers, I'm
so
actually
don't
so
forget
glad
you all
that
put the phone number up so the people can call in.
Yes, again, the phone number is 313-355-6018. Please make sure you call in and or
She recognized her piece.
I'm actually glad, Rosemary, that you did call in, and actually it gives us a chance to show that, because we were talking about that. Well, that was one of the pieces that you just completed. And again, I'll show y'all, this is how her art is flying off the wall. She just finished this.
Yeah.
So
they were fighting.
It wasn't even dry. It wasn't even dry.
All right. Well, that's wonderful. I'm looking forward to it.
Beautiful. Thank you, Rosemary.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Thank you.
Did he just hang up? Vito, stop hanging up on people. Thank you, Vito. We love you. Vito hooked us up with candy too. So always, Vito is the man. He is behind the scenes. He is the person that makes this thing roll. So thank you, Vito.
Yes, and we want to also say happy birthday to Roger, Pennsylvania. Today's his birthday, everybody. Happy birthday, Roger.
But yes, you guys can't see the detail in that painting, but it's every single leaf has a personality. It's gorgeous.
It is
fabulous.
When she was on the Breakfast Club, I'm taking it and I'm making it bigger, and I'm going, oh my God, it looks like a photograph. And I actually didn't somebody ask you if that was a photograph?
Yeah, they did, and I don't understand why. Because I mean, there's when I say remember, I don't do details. I do color. So every little, it's usually like little brush strokes that created any of that. So I don't necessarily go in and try to draw the leaf. It's like I just put the color in and then morph it a little bit, and then and that's how the leaf comes about. And I try to duplicate what I see outside as much as possible. So even then, I don't even mix the colors. I just keep adding colors to it. One of the artists that I used to enjoy, I think it's not Central Park, but there is a picture of, what is it, Monet? The one who actually takes all the little dots of colors. And I always enjoy looking at the one where the ladies are with the umbrella and in the park, and there's so many details, and it's all just dots that he used. So whenever people ask me who do I mimic or who do I aspire to be like, I use him as a guide more times than not, but also I don't have enough patience to do all the dots he did. So I try to I try to do it in such a way where you'll see even the longing, that large painting, if you look closely at it, none of the colors are blended. None of the colors are blended because all the colors, like I said, I didn't use any black on it. So the colors that you see are actually just swatched on with a brush to make it appear that they're blended, but they're not.
You about to have me
Aaron,
I'm gonna pour a glass of wine.
I just look at. I have a question.
Yeah.
When you say it has no black in it, your colors. Explain to people, because I don't understand why. What is the purpose of using a black in a color?
Well, the reason why I did that, because black doesn't exist naturally in nature. It's usually a mixture of colors. So knowing that in longing, you see a lot of browns, but the browns are really like the red and the green put together closely, so they resemble brown. Not necessarily that I actually mixed them up together and put it on it, because it would look flat. So I just wanted to give the appearance of it, but not necessarily make it that, because when you look at a shadow, it's not a black shadow, it's just a dark shadow. Mm-hmm. And I try to keep it that way as much as possible. Even my blendings, yeah, I just try to make it where if you look really, 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 really closely with the bright light, then you'll see, okay, there's different colors there. But when you step back, it's like, oh, the overall effect is what you get. So yeah.
How long does it take you? I know because people are going to ask that. How long does it take you, let's say, to complete like this piece? What would you say your time frame? Do you just
Um,
do it at the one time, or do you just do little bits and stop? Or
well, for my landscape, they take longer. Like it took me a week, a little bit less than a week to actually do the entire landscape, but this is like 30 by 40, so it's pretty large.
whoop,
With that particular piece, with that particular piece, I took a week because I know I showed it to you guys when I sketched it out and I showed it. And then the following week it was actually colored. So it took what I usually do, my concepts take longer just thinking about how to go about doing something rather than actually putting it on canvas. And the only time I stop is when I notice that either something's not working or it's too wet to continue. So I have to stop and let it dry. And it's like waiting for paint to dry is really boring. So I'll go on to something else. I'll go on to something else or walk away. But I usually don't do multiple paintings at a time. I usually just work on one and get that. That's why the brush strokes are a little bit different each time because I'm not carrying the same brush stroke into another painting. I'm just finishing that one and then moving on to something else. Um, and I think what drove me with those two paintings, especially the one with the dancing and stuff like that, is just I wanted to get them to Calibri. I'm like, I gotta get this over to her, and I know what I have in mind, and I gotta get this over to her. So I was like, oh, okay, I gotta do it. But usually the one with the dancing took longer because I couldn't figure out like I knew what I wanted, but then I was like, that doesn't work. Not on canvas. It doesn't work that way. I gotta figure that out. So that the concepts in my head take longer than actually putting it on canvas. Mm.
that's cool.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so we're going to be
Okay.
gearing down here.
We are.
So it's like, oh my
If
God.
you could, I mean, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful interview.
Yes, thank you.
If you could leave
No
us with
problem.
a positive note, and a positive note, because I know it's easy to go in on sixth grade teacher, little Miss Sixth Grade, looking hopeful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I can tell you her name. She's probably passed on by now, but you know,
You
still.
leave us with a positive note. Is there anything that you would want to,
Sure.
any advice or just anything that you would want to leave for anyone watching today?
Well, I will say this, knowing my experience, um, I will say just support the children. I mean, I always say that people have passions, and instead of discouraging them from the passion, support their passion. Figure out how to make it possible for them, to help them guide them through because you there's no such thing as a dream that can't come true. It's just a matter of finding a way to make that dream come true.
Okay.
And there's so many times that we don't do that. My parents, they could have dissuaded me from all this. And they didn't. They just, okay, well, what do we need to do to make this come true for you? And the same thing with my son. I mean, he's been doing music production since he was 12. And I found him a mentor. I found him, I got him the equipment. I got him into a performing arts school. There's always a way to make it possible. Not to say that, if they have to dream of something really bad, it's going to hurt people, but just so that, it's not our job to dissuade them. It's our job to help them and
Right.
guide them towards what is their passion.
We're going to have to sign off here, and
Aw.
Come up right at the top.
oh, where
But we
where are we?
are.
Oh, are we?
Hope if you could give us thank you
Give
for
us a
joining
how do
us.
how do we
How do
reach
we
you?
get in touch with you? How do the viewers that you want to buy artwork before it's sold out? How do we get in touch with you?
Well, my website is live, so it's hopebullard.com. Real simple. Or you can actually message me on Instagram at stickfigureacrylics.com. Well, stickfigure acrylics. Or you can email me stickfigureacrylics@gmail.com. So I have multiple ways to get in contact with me. And yeah, if you put my name in, the artist, it comes up.
All right.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank
Hope
you.
You're welcome.
at Danahan Art Gallery,
Yes.
and she'll be exhibiting at Charles H. right here in Detroit this summer. So tune in for details, and we'll keep you updated.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
very much, Hope Bullard.
Oh my God. It was a
You're welcome. This was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for
Yay.
watching and sharing and just keeping on our Facebook Live. And remember, WJZZ, Cool TV. Get down and dirty.
Yeah,
Thank
Good
you.
you guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.